Hello everyone. Okay, so this video today is mainly aimed at anyone who is new to trading or analyzing footprint charts, specifically in this instance Exo Charts. And yeah, I just wanted to go over some key information and a really good starting point for anyone who really hasn't kind of looked into this style of charting before too much. So just a quick overview then here. So what you are seeing here is the Bitcoin US dollar chart here on the 11th of June 2021. And this is the Binance futures chart. Now, anyone who knows me already will know that most of my trading does not take place on Binance, but I'm using Binance for this example because it has quite a significantly larger amount of volume in comparison to other other exchanges that are out there, such as Bybit, BitMEX, or whatever else you want to trade on. So in terms of just pure volume, which is what we're really looking at on this chart, then the Binance chart is a really nice one to be looking at. So what you're looking at here, it's basically a 30-minute candlestick chart with some additional information in it. So if we are to look at this and then we go over to our usual candlestick chart here, you can see it's exactly the same information. So this on a 30-minute time frame, the Bitcoin USDT perpetual on Binance. You can see here how we start our day. Our daily open is here, and then price coming through up until at this point 4:30 in the afternoon in UK time. So you can see here again, same thing. So you have your daily open here, and you're coming through, and it's this 4:30 in the evening here. So what does this show you? I think it's fairly clear that you can see that there's a lot more information on this chart, or at least it appears there's a lot more information here. So I just want to go over some things that you'll be able to find useful and what can help you gain an edge on the market, much more so than what this information is able to give you. So, okay, let's start off with, very simply, let's zoom in. Okay, and let's have a look at what is going on within each one of these bars here that you see. So you can see, let's start off on the left hand side. This is basically the candle itself. So I'm using this as a open, high, low, close candle, which just shows on the left hand side of each one of these bars. But again, you can change that. You can make it look a bit more like your usual candles here. So you can see here how you have your open and close, and you have your wicks, and you can get a bit of information that way from the various kind of options that you have there. But in this instance, it's just showing the green candles here, which are just more white, so they're kind of brighter in color as you go up, and then obviously the red candles, or the selling candles, that are shown more in this gray color on the way down. And then of course you have your wicks either side of that. So that just shows you basically this. Okay, so it's the same thing, but this is just on the left hand side here of the chart. Now what you have within that is the really important information then, and what you are seeing here is just a standard bid ask profile. So I have this set to bid ask profile at the top here, and you can change this if again, I wouldn't recommend it if you're new to using this software, but you can have a look and see what other information is there if you do want to start taking a look at other ways of viewing this information. So what this is showing you here is your bid and ask profile. So this on the left hand side are your market sells, and on the right hand side are your market buys. So this is showing only transactions that happen at market. This isn't showing you anything going on at limit. So limit orders are an entirely separate thing. There is nothing on this chart that shows you what is going on within the order book itself. Now you can set that up in order to show these things, or you can use other software in order to show that, but this is purely looking at market. So what is actually moving the market, where the sellers and the buyers are, and yeah, just all of that information there, really. So why is this information important then? So first of all, it helps you gain a really clear understanding of where the volume within each one of these time periods is. So where most price is transacted, or where most transactions are. So you can see very clearly here, these red outline candles show your points of control for each one of these candles here. So as we're coming in here, you can see that this candle that was at 4 p.m, the point of control very clearly there was at $36,900. If we go back, we can see our point of control here very clearly at $37,275. Now, the reason this is going up in these $25 increments is because of the tick size here that I'm using. I am using a 50 tick setting, which is something that I use consistently throughout all of my templates. So 30-minute 50 tick, always a good place to start. Okay, so if you are loading up a template like this, I would say this is always a nice place to start. This is something that is transferable, whether you're looking at a TPO, a market profile, whether you're looking at a footprint chart, whether you're looking at other things going on, like the 30-minute is just a really nice time frame, and the 50 tick with kind of the volatility and the price amount that we have right now, with Bitcoin being at $37,000, obviously, you need to start grouping some of these dollars together. You can't start kind of putting it down to one tick looking at this chart, or you'll just have to zoom in forever to see any information at all. Obviously, if you were looking at something like, I don't know, Litecoin, which is a few $100s, then maybe you can start to take that tick size down to look at $1 or $2 increments on that. But yeah, that's going off on a bit of a tangent there. So yeah, once again, you have your market sellers and your market buyers. Now, why is this important, and how can this help you to gain an edge, first of all, just from this information alone? So it helps you to see, first of all, where the volume is within that specific session. So if we zoom out and we have a look, and you have a look at how price kind of moves around throughout the day, you can kind of start to get an idea of where you have these pivots. If you see areas where there is significant volume at lows, or significant volume at highs, then you can almost expect price to come back in and to test these areas. So you can see here last night in this instance how price came down. You had a lot of volume here at the lows. You have these points of control that have been formed around $36,000 and just below. Then price comes up. You can see here a significant amount of volume in comparison to everywhere else on this kind of pivot high that you have here around this 36,900 to 36,800 area. And you can see then price starts to come back down. What does it do? It tests into this area of high volume, comes down, tests it, tests the demand is there in this instance, and then gets its bounce off of these points of control and this area of high volume here. What happens when it comes back up? Comes all the way back up and starts to test this area of high volume here. So again, it's these big volume areas which are showing value. So this is showing a lot of people transacting within this area. You would expect price, if it was to come up here, that people would, maybe they were longing down here, you'd be expecting them to take profit here because they're like, okay, there's a decent amount of volume within this area. There's a lot of people that are wanting to transact around here, so let's use this as a take profit, or potentially take a short, and then price can come back down. And you see this time after time, like as again, price will continue up. You have a point of control that's put in here, you come down, you come back up, and you can see here on this candle, Where did it stop? Right at your point of control. Now, obviously, these are trades to take fairly quickly, unless you're seeing really clear signs of tops and bottoms being put in. But it gives you an idea of where you can expect small reversals at the very least to occur. So yeah, just very useful information, a lot more so than you can get from here. Like, how do you know from looking at this candle, like where were most of the transactions taking place within this candle? It's impossible. There is just no way to know unless you're using a footprint chart, and you can say, okay, here, look, oh great, we have a lot of volume going on right at the lows here, so there's clearly a lot of interest at the lows. So in that instance, well, if we break down, you would say, okay, maybe price comes back up, and this would be an area where it would get a rejection. Or it may bounce here, then come back and test the demand, and then start to move higher again. Okay, so this is just a very basic way of looking at the volume and the transactions that have taken place within each one of these candles. Now, the other thing I want to cover quickly on this is looking at imbalances in particular as well. So what I mean by that is the difference between the bids and the asks, the buyers, the sellers. So if there is a significant difference here between people selling on the left or buying on the right, and that helps you to identify where trapped longs or trapped shorts, trapped buyers and sellers may be on this chart. So just going through here, we can find some, again, quick examples to demonstrate what I mean by trapped buyers and sellers. So here's a fairly decent example, depending on what price does, is you can see that there's a lot of selling going on down at these lows. So you can see clearly here 7.6 million selling in comparison to 2.5 million buying right at the low. So that's a pretty significant difference there. That's at least 3/4 of the market are selling at this point. Again, here you've got a lot more selling than buying. You've got a lot more selling than buying. And here you can see again, you've got a significant amount more selling than buying with high volume here. So you would expect at this point, here is the area where trapped shorts may be. So the market shouldn't give these guys an exit at this point. It may do, and if it does, then the people who have shorted there are profitable, and you could expect that anyone, in this case, who may be long from here, it would have the reverse effect if price came down. These people who are currently trapped became profitable, price comes back up, and then the people who are longing based on this information would want to get out at break even, or shorts maybe closing here after getting stopped out or whatever. So it's another area that you can expect a reaction from if price either comes up and gets this move up and then back into it, or comes down and then gets that move back up into it there. So yeah, this shows it's not the best example, but it's just a very recent example of possible trapped traders at the lows here on the sell side. If you come back up and start to look at the upper end of things, up at the highs, again, this candle here, very, very clearly, like this is 5.6 million, 13 million, 9.1 million in comparison to a lot of these candles. Like, look here, no one's selling up here, market anyway, but a lot of people market buying, a lot of people market buying. So you could say within this area here, there's a lot of trapped longs. And again, what does price do? It comes down from there, gets that initial rejection. It comes down into a area of high volume, gets that bounce, and at this point, you're not letting them out. So this is kind of, or at least anyone that is trapped, is getting out break even, causing some sell side pressure. So if you've been buying here and price is coming back up and you're closing out of that thinking, all right, okay, I better get out of this break even, the market's come back, like allow yourself to get out, then that creates more selling pressure, because anyone closing their long position will be causing selling pressure to the downside. And again, once price comes, then anyone here who has not closed out and created this selling pressure is then trapped at the highs. And then you come down and you find a support level and you do the same thing like I was just saying. So you can go through and you can see this on every high and every low basically. Again here, this low not particularly significant, so there's not a great deal of imbalance going on here, so that could show you that it's an area where price could quite easily come back down and go through at that point. So this would be a pretty poor low in the grand scheme of things. It's not an area where you can say that there's a lot of trap traders, because there's a pretty good balance here of longs and shorts. Again, this is a high, which is fairly nice. You can see imbalances going on at these highs. You can see imbalances going on at these highs here, and you can keep looking through. Here's some lows: 20 million sellers, 7 million sellers, 2 million sellers, not a single buyer down at this low. So that's showing again possible trapped shorts or trapped sellers, or anything along those lines at these lows here. So it's just a really nice way of being able to see exactly what is going on within the chart. Now, the other things that I just want to cover within this is just what's going on this bar at the bottom and on the side here. So this here is basically showing whereas this is 30-minute candles throughout the day, so you see each candle. What you see here on the right hand side is your full day, like the developing day, and your point of control for the day. So you can see here our point of control for the day coming in at $37,000, and you can see that this is slightly skewed to the sell side with a negative delta. So basically the delta is the difference between the buyers and the sellers. So if you have more selling than buying going on a certain candle or at a certain area of price, that will give you a negative delta. If you have more buying than selling going on, then that will give you a positive delta. So that just shows you here where the majority of transactions have been taking place throughout the day. So again, here, just as this example, yes, we had potential trap shorts at the lows, but what did price do? It came in to this point of control, could not get acceptance back above there, and you can see here a clear imbalance between the buyers and the sellers on the top of this candle. And whereas we had the potential for a bounce here with the imbalance that we had at the lows, we then immediately created this imbalance at the highs and prices dropped down. And in this case, we've come down to the bottom of this value area. So this is our daily value area that is at the low here. So this shows you, again, other information that you can gain from the charts, knowing where your value area is, where the majority of transactions have taken place throughout the day, knowing where your point of control is, again, where the overall majority of transactions have taken place, and this being the area where most transactions have taken place. They're all good levels to be aware of. The bars at the bottom here just very simply show your volume from each candle. So you can see this candle in particular having fairly high volume here. So this is saying, okay, maybe there's a more decisive move within here. So again, possibly that would get continuation. You can see quite a heavy negative delta going on. So there is a lot more selling. It's a high volume candle with a lot more selling going on than buying at market. And again, that's all quite useful information that you can gain. So something else that you can look for is looking to see if there is a difference between the delta of a candle and the direction in which it moves. So This just gives you on this one an example. So you can see here this candle just about has positive delta, which means that there were more buyers overall than there were sellers in this candle. However, the candle overall was a red one, so it did have more, it had a move down in the market, although it did have slightly more buyers there, which is interesting. So that kind of tells you a lot about what is going on in the order book. So if the price is able to move down with there being a positive delta, it shows that the order book is very thin on the buy side, so that a lot less money, it takes a lot less money to move the price down than it does to move the price up. So this could show that maybe the order book was kind of a lot more going on at limit here, sell orders going on at limit, in order for this candle to close red, even though there was more buying volume within that candle. And again, you can probably see other examples of this. You can see here is a green candle, a positive candle with negative delta. And there'll be quite often examples of that you can see. So again, these are things to be aware of. This can help you to understand whether, or to help form a bias of where price is more likely to go. If you know that there's been a lot of buying, but price hasn't been able to move up, then clearly there is something else going on here, and you've got to be able to ask yourself, like, okay, what is going on here? Like I've seen 100 million buys and only 40 million sells, yet price hasn't moved up. Why is that? So just important things to ask yourself when you are looking at these charts. The final thing I just want to cover on this is this line here. So this is the VWAP. So this is the volume weighted average price. So basically like a moving point of control, a cross between a moving average and a point of control. So this shows you, basically as price moves throughout the day, it gives you a level to go off, almost like a point of control here. So if price is above VWAP, you can say that generally is bullish. If price is below VWAP, it is generally more bearish. And it can, in this instance, you can see here how price came below, tried to hold it, get a bounce, ultimately lost that. And maybe that will be a kind of signal that price possibly has the chance of continuing further down here, because this now, what was acting as support, this VWAP, will now be acting as resistance on the way down. So that kind of covers everything I wanted to go over on this particular template. I hope you guys found it useful, and I hope it kind of gives you a little bit more insight on what you can see within everything that's going on here. Again, any questions, I'm always around on Discord. This template is available for anyone who is on there. And I will see everyone on the next video, and thank you for watching. Cheers guys, bye.